John Holder, Gerhard Mathangani joined us. Michael Short joins us, the coach, and also going to be joined right here by this man, head coach of the Jacksonville Christian Thunder, Coach Tommy Miller. Coach, glad to have you with us tonight here on After the Game, and we're going to talk some Jacksonville Christian Thunder football. First, congratulations on the win last night, 58 points against Tabernacle. This was a battle of undefeateds, and I was at the game last night for most of the first half. This was two good football teams.
We knew they were good coming in. We knew last year they run up 60 on us over there at their place and beat us pretty soundly, and had those skill players back. So we knew that they were going to come in and be very hard to beat, and it was. We played well, played a good second half. We didn't play a good first half, but we played a good second half.
You moved the game like a lot of folks did. You moved it to Thursday, and it turns out that was a pretty smart move because the rain, I noticed in the first quarter, I looked back over toward Pleasant Valley and Glencoe, they got some rain out that way, but the rain stayed away, and you had a dry field last night.
We did, and to start with, it was a good move for them. They said, we're not going to move it. We're not going to allow it to be moved. And I knew why, because we've been scoring through the air. They've been scoring on the ground. So I knew what was going on there, and he had to call me back and say, well, our executive director said for me to call you and said, it's y'all's decision where we're going to play to move it up. So we decided we'd move it up.
Coach, we're going to take some highlights of this game. Gerhard Mathangani and Coach over there are joining us here for the first time tonight. Guys, welcome in. Glad to have y'all with us tonight all the way until 12 midnight. Gerhard, you're going to take us out to Tommy Miller Field and look at some first half highlights of that game between JCA and Tabernacle.
That's right, John. You and Charlie were both at that game. We will roll those highlights from the Jacksonville area. Jacksonville and Tabernacle hooking up for the third consecutive year. The Torches coming all the way from the Gardendale area to face off against the Thunder, looking good in the early stages of this one. Travis Barnhill on the receiving end of this pass from Noah Lee. Scrambling his Lee, goes to the outside, and then dances down the sideline, picks up 18 yards and a big first down. A little bit later, same drive. Lee, once again, this time hitting Ethan Fair. Fair with a nice catch. One-on-one coverage, goes over the top, gets the catch for the first down. A little bit later, same drive. Lee back across the field to Braxton Brown. And take a look at Brown cutting up right back across the middle of the field. One guy can't get him down. First down for the Thunder. A little bit later in that drive, beautiful touchdown pass here. Lee to Hunter Brown, and that is a touchdown pass. Extra point was no good. 6-0 JCA early on, but the Torches, Coach just mentioned it, they're a really good ball team. They came back a little bit later. This is Daniel McCormick on the pass from Clinton Chase. Give him 33 yards and a big first down there on that pass. A little bit later, they're facing fourth down. How about a 26-yard run? Coach, this was a big guy to tackle. I know that we'll talk about him in a little bit, but touchdown here, 26-yard run. Their two-point conversion was no good, so we're all knotted up at 6. A little bit later, this is the Thunder back on the drive again. Lee hitting Fair. Once again, a really, really nice catch there. And then Brown, 12-yard touchdown run here. Great blocking. You saw virtually untouched into the end zone, the 9-yard touchdown run. The two-point conversion, no good. 12-6 JCA early. Nice heads-up play here by your quarterback, being able to pick the ball up after fumble and then gets the ball into the air. Great presence of mind. Brown on the other end of that 51-yard receiving play. And then the last play here is incomplete, but nice pass there from Lee at the goal line. But Coach, it doesn't matter because high-scoring game, scored over 100 combined points. But the best part about it, you got the W once again for your 4-0. First off, number one high-scoring game, and you talked about your ability to pass just off the air a moment ago, and it looks like your guys were able to execute once again yesterday.
That's true. It's we are moving the ball through the air pretty good, and of course that that takes a whole lot. First of all, you got to block, and we've been getting time to throw the ball. Right. And second of all, you got to throw the ball, and somebody's got to catch it, and we just got all three of those working together right now.
Coach, when I was watching some of the highlights there, the first thing that I noticed was, like you mentioned, the blocking, but I watched your people on the perimeter blocking for each other, and that takes a lot of unselfishness to be able to, in today's game, I think you've done a good job of teaching these kids all the little bitty things about persevering, doing the right things, but that shows up when you're blocking for your buddy. You're blocking for each other. And I really appreciate that, being as a coach, watching those little bitty things, and those little things have got to mean a lot to winning games.
You're right. It's something you'd mention that because we talk about that a whole lot.
Yeah.
You're not going to go very far if it's going to be I. You know that better than I do. And we have played this year pretty unselfish football, and that's what shows up in the 4-0. You got to prefer the other guy more than yourself, and we've been able to do that. If we keep doing that, we've got a chance to do some other things, as long as we stay in that frame of mind.
Well, I liked what I saw on film. I mean, from sitting there watching those highlights, that's the first thing I picked up is your kids are very unselfish.
Thank you. That's what we're trying to do. You're right.
That's right.
Coach, you play 8-man football. We try to explain that to folks. Folks probably looking at those highlights going, wait a minute, it doesn't look like they have enough players on the field. Playing 8-man football, you play in the Christian Football Association, the CFA. There are teams across Alabama, central part of the state, down to Montgomery, over to Tuscaloosa, 2 teams in Mississippi. There is a playoff in that. There's this championship. Obviously at 4-0, are you guys eligible for that championship? And tell us about just the competition that's in that college, I should say, in that Christian Football Association.
Well, the competition is pretty strong. I mean, you see this school right here that we played last night, and last week we were down up at Cornerstone up on the mountain, 10 points at the half, and we're able to come back and win that game. We've had 2 very stressful games, stressful for me anyway. But we were able to come back from a halftime deficit and win both those games. But we got some teams coming up next week. If I had to rank the teams right now, next week's game would be the second best team in the conference. Of course, Russell over in Meridian, Mississippi, has won about 6 years in a row now, I think, the championship. And so they're probably the best team. But we're on the way up. We're going to be competing with them this year, I hope. So we've got a shot at that. If we can win, there's only 4 teams that get in this playoff. And first round plays at home, then they go to Tuscaloosa and play the championship game. So we're trying to struggle to get in that 4. It doesn't leave a whole lot of room for error. But we feel like we got a good shot at it.
Well, Coach, just the one thing here is how much that your players and coaching staff have had to overcome this whole year to persevere just through everything that's happened outside the game of football. Tell us a little bit about that, because I'm just really impressed about how the community and all the people have rallied together. And a lot of times that's what happens on the football field, is people rally together, and that's starting to show off.
That's true. We when that big building burnt, that was the biggest building we had, and it housed a lot of our elementary. It housed our lunch room where our choir worked, the 3 Bible classes down there. We had a daycare in that building. There was a sanctuary in that building. It was a huge building, and when it burned, it took away a lot. Actually, the Lord really helped us there. We missed 1 day of school after that burnt. Things just fell into place. Now, they didn't fall into place without a whole lot of effort and a lot of work, but they did fall into place. And we've had to deal with that every day throughout the summer, and when we deal with it almost every day now. So it has been a big issue. We've had to change things where we had to get some portables in. It's made a big difference in the way we've had to do things for right now.
Coach, you brought some players with you tonight, probably some of those guys that we just saw in the highlights that Gerhard went through. I love it when they bring the players in because, hey, that's what high school football is all about, is spotlighting these young men. So we're going to show these guys that you brought with you tonight. I think you got about a half dozen players here. So tell us about, one, who these guys are, what they do. Tell us about these young men you brought with you from Jacksonville.
Well, the 2 on the corners there, Hunter Brown and Braxton Brown, they are brothers. And Hunter shares time with Tyler Doggerel, who's right here in front of Braxton at tailback. They both work at tailback. Both of them start on defense. Justin Crocker there in the middle on the front has never played football before this year, and he is improving every game. He's one of the reasons we're getting the throw. He's playing guard, and he's doing a good job. And then the 2 in the back here in the middle and the other side is Ethan Fair in the middle and Noah Lee on the other side over there. So they're a quarterback and receiver. So that's the 6 that are here tonight.
As we continue here with our Noble Bank post-game presser, we're talking with the head coach of the Jacksonville Christian Thunder, Coach Tommy Miller. Coach, you were telling me over the summer, and you mentioned it just now, you were able to get some of these good athletes you have in the school that maybe played some other sports like basketball, able to get them to come out and play football, and those guys have, as you just mentioned, have been difference makers for you.
They have. Tyler played in his younger years. He runs cross country also, but he didn't play the last couple of years. And he was run cross country, but he didn't play football. He come back out this year, and he's helped tremendously. Ethan, of course, has always played basketball and baseball, and he's catching the ball really well. And now we're working him in the cornerback on defense. So those three right there have helped make a difference in where we are right now.
Is there anything that you need? I know it's been a few months since the fire happened, but I know there's probably still a tremendous need. If folks are out there watching tonight or watching our replay over the weekend, and they want to help in some way, not the football team necessarily, but the school itself, are there things that you're in need of?
Well, we've got a lot of people have stepped up. We've got a lot of supplies. What we're needing now is to get things that will go in the new building when we get it built. The insurance money we had to build that building back, as you know how things have gone up in the last 2 or 3 years, the insurance money would have built it back 4 or 5 years ago. It won't now. So we're having to do a lot of adjusting to get a building built and get the needs that we need there. Storage, we've got people giving things that will go in that building. Things like lunchroom tables, those kind of things. We don't have a place to store them either. We got people crammed in there to go to school right now, so we don't have storage room. I don't know the answer to that, but monetary donations are always welcome. We have to pay rent on those portables every month. We've had to pay for adjustments on the portables and things like that normally don't go into the budget. It's not there. So anything like that helps also.
Gerhard, you got a little special video clip here, I think, for us. So tell us, kind of set this up, because I want Coach to kind of talk about this, because I think this is pretty unique about a clip that we saw last night that we got at Tommy Miller Field last night.
Yeah, a little noteworthy storyline here with the Thunder, and I saw it on the video clips that you and Charlie brought back, and I edited this back in, and I think our crew has it upstairs. Coach, you have the wonderful, I would think it's a pleasure to coach your grandson. Talk about this.
Well, I do. Noah's my youngest grandson until December, and Ethan is the middle grandson, and we're fine off the field, but now but on the field, it's
I've seen you look happier through the years, Coach, than you do right there.
The way you pull that hat down, I know how that goes.
I get on their case when I need to. They're used to me, and they've been around coaching. And I've coached Ethan in basketball before, and he knows I get a little fire. I told him after the game last night, I've got more fire in me than any 68-year-old in the state of Alabama. But it's them that bring it out of me when we behind at half like that. So that keeps me going, I think. So it's and coaching your grandsons, that is something that's unique.
Yes, you do. Yes.
I coached all 4 of my daughters. Now I'm getting paid back by coaching my grandson. So.
Speaking of daughters, and I do have one thing I'm disappointed in Coach here about. Sometime back, it was a Friday night, not during football season, obviously, but I was at home, and my family's in there. They got the Game Show Network on, and it's the Family Feud, Steve Harvey. And here's what happens: I'm in the room, and all of a sudden I hear the announcer say, "From Jacksonville, Alabama, the Miller family." I go running in the room. I'm like, I know those, but it was all females, and I'm expecting to see Tommy Miller on the Family Feud. And Coach, I was disappointed. So tell us how you didn't make it on the Family Feud.
First of all, I wasn't disappointed not being there. That was three of my 4 daughters were there on that. 2 nieces were on that. Dennis's 2 daughters, and then Katie, my youngest daughter, was there in case my 3rd daughter sugar bottomed out. She was going to jump in there and take her place. So they had it covered, everything covered. But I wouldn't have advised them to do that, but they went ahead and did it anyway. If you saw that, John,
I did see it.
was,
I was impressed, to be honest with you.
well, I don't know if I'd call it impressed. They grew up with me, and so I could see that. I think they held it down some. As a matter of fact, they ham it up pretty good. I mean, people that know them know they can turn on the ham, and that whole group did that night, I think.
Coach, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for bringing these young men. Congratulations, not only the win last night, but 4-0 undefeated. We will be pulling for you to be in that state championship game in Tuscaloosa in November.
Thank you. We appreciate that very much.